Name's Brett. I'm in the garden. It is windy out, so I had this great idea. Use these massive tomato bushes as a wind blocker, so we'll see. We will see if it works. But we are here for another one of our things. And last time I did a thing, I didn't realize that I had added some friends, and it was the first time in the history of me that I added real-time coworkers. And in school they warn you, no, don't, get away from the adding your coworkers. They are not your friends, that kind of thing, and all that. And I agree with that advice, sage advice. However, in getting into this whole thing a year ago at the end of June, that I did these things. I realized during it. The wind. Okay, we'll find out if that's picking up. But I realized that what I was enjoying about this is that I really wanted to merge my life into one thing, like authenticity. Like I was craving it, wanting to be one thing and try to juggle different lives of who am I as a professional and who am I as a son and husband and all. Yeah, just one thing. And so I thought maybe if I was more authentic all around. So that's where all this kind of grew into. And so so far so good. I haven't had any issues with any adding coworkers. So, but anyway, for the folks that I added, just so you know, this is non-clinical. This is not. This is certainly not what I do at work. This is me. This is Johari window expansion, and lots of other things. And I'm trying to add more of the clinical side of it as I use to help me through things, if that makes sense. So this is certainly not a TED Talk or anything like that, and I swear a lot. So yeah, but welcome. My colleagues who are excellent at their job, by the way. I hope I never leave where I'm at. It's great, and it's extremely hard, and I'm overwhelmed, and I feel like I'm going to get fired all the time because I'm so damn behind all the time. There's no not being behind. It's all the time behind. And right now, I'm way behind, and I'm under a horrendous amount of stress, and that's why I'm doing one of these. And I'm trying not to make it long, but it is getting long. So anyway. When a big change happens in your life, certain things kind of happen, like big change, like a move, moving somewhere, and we just moved, and they call that adjustment disorder, and it's 3 to 6 months, 6 months tops. It's kind of like a interim diagnosis, like a placeholder for like something else. But it is something that happens to us, and we go through a big change. Certain things happen symptomology wise, so we're dealing with like heightened stress and being short and mood instability and emotion dysregulation, things like that. Okay, and it doesn't last 6 months tops. Okay, so me and mine, the four of us living in one house now, we are all adjustment disorder hard right now and fighting all the time. Which sucks, because like every weekend is hard now. And so I will share how I get through these kind of things. And they're not working so great right now because I'm so dysregulated. However, they do work. And even when you are dysregulated as I am, they work. Okay? So one of these I learned in Prisneyland. Okay? So if hard pipe hitting motherfuckers can do this and learn this and condition themselves to this, you can too. Okay, and then the other one is a very classic kind of therapy thing, again, which is this is not that, and I'm only using these terms in this video because I just want to make sure my colleagues know this is not what this is. But this one's classic. Some of you may have heard it. So the one that comes after that. So I'll start with the classic one first. So this is reflective listening and active listening, okay? And so active listening is exactly like it sounds. So to actively listen means when someone's talking, you are, you're making periodic eye contact, You're acknowledging through nonverbal cues that you are listening. It's all active listening. And then the most important part is you are actively listening to what they're saying, logging away the highlights of what they are saying so you can condense it down for the next part. Okay, so you're not thinking about what you're gonna say, or usually you're in an argument when you're doing these kind of things, and so you're not thinking about how you're gonna zing them or how you're gonna use fuel or anything like that. All you're doing is listening to what they're saying intently. Okay, and so once that happens and they're finished, then you reflectively listen, or I guess that's part of reflective listening, is that you're going to reflect back what you heard them say. And it's clunky at first. Now, when Janet and I first started doing it, it was clunky as shit, and we would get angry at each other because they're like, don't therapize me, well, you're therapizing me. And one thing that folks need to know is that Janet is a straight up mage when it comes to DBT, so I'm outclassed. Anyway, we used it to a point to where you don't use those clunky words like, so what I heard you say is, and then that concise kind of version of what you heard and the overview of it, and then they'd say, yep, that's pretty accurate, or no, you forgot this part, and then you say, okay, and then you acknowledge that part, and then you're done. Okay, so that is reflective listening. Active listening means listening intently, making cues, letting them know I'm following you. Reflective listening in that you're going to reflect back in a kind of more concise way what they said, an overview of it, so that, why are we doing that? To give them validation. You're validating them. Because what we're doing this for is when we're fighting or we're arguing or something, we can use this at any time, but really when you're arguing, especially with someone you love dearly, this is really important stuff. Okay, so you want to validate. You want to let your partner or your loved one know that they are important. And though you are fucking pissed off or whatever it is, that you still love them, of course, and that what they have to say is important and valuable to you. Okay, and you can do all of that in just that one step, reflective listening. Okay. All right, so here's the next one. And I've kind of mixed this around, this skill, so there are colleagues that have done this skill as well, or taught it, and they're going to go like, that's not it, but I've edited it down a little bit, so it's more free fire, and I fire for effect, as you know. So this is the Talk It Over formula, okay, and it's what it's called, the Talk It Over formula. It's not mine. Can't remember where I got it, what book it was in, either Seeking Safety or DBT, but Talk It Over formula, and it's involving reflective listening. Of course, you're doing that while you're doing this. Okay, so this is 3 easy steps. Okay, I feel statements. Okay, now why is that one so important? That's the first step. I feel. Why is that so important? Well, as you know in many of the videos that I have, emotion is truth. It's real, it's reality, it's how we can discern what's bullshit, okay? And sure, we know lots of folks, including ourselves, that fake emotion, but even as good as some folks can be, you can't really fake emotion. I mean, we give folks awards for that because they're feeling it, because it's really happening. It's tough to do that, especially when it's not yours, when you're transplanting that emotion. So anyway, when you're telling someone an emotion, I feel, and you're being honest about that emotion, they can sense that. I mean, I think I might have upset some folks in another video when I was saying that, most people in the world are empaths, and I should have said most people in the world are capable. They have ability to do that. There's a small percentage of us that aren't able to think dialectically, but for the most part we can, and we can all experience empathy, and if we experience it to a level, we can truly empathize to a point where it's maybe that empathic ability that I like to talk about. So yeah, using I feel statements, it is validating, because if you're being real and you're saying I feel angry, and they can feel that, they can sense that, and they know that, okay, that's going to validate what they already know, that you're being truthful here, okay? That's why you do that. So I feel statements, and I'd get into it if I had time about the uncanny valley. Now, I think a lot of us have heard that term because of AI and all that stuff, but I kind of involved that in this part of it. Okay, so we got I feel statement. All right, here comes the next part, the because. All right, so I'm feeling this way because. All right, now have you noticed in this talk it over formula thus far and throughout, there is no you statements. There's no you. You know, you don't want to be any accusatory. Even if you're really, really angry and there are things that are clearly being wrongly done to you, okay? You want to avoid those accusatory things. You want this to turn out to be a win-win and hopefully some compromise involved in there on both ends, okay? So you got to be savvy, okay? And that's why I like to think of this as more of yeah, like magic, you know, because you're using skill and you're being intentful about it, and you're using empathy. Most importantly, you're not out there to cut. You're out there to hopefully heal and resolve. All right. Okay. So back to the because. So you don't have to say you statements. It doesn't have to be anything like that. And I'll give an example. Okay. I like a clean kitchen, and Janet, and she's gonna be watching this, so I gotta be careful. Janet, and she's actually right over here, so she's listening anyway. So not the best cleanerton. Okay, that's mom made sure her boy was a cleaner. Okay. So I like a good clean kitchen, and I like to really clean a kitchen. And so when the kitchen's dirty and it wasn't me and I want to cook, I get frustrated. Okay, and then a long time, years would go by where this would be fights. And so yeah, so a good example of the talk it over formula, just to that point, to the because, is I'm feeling frustrated because I was hoping to cook us a delicious ass dinner tonight, and there's a lot of dishes. Okay, so there's to that point, and then I'll finish that off here with the third part, which is measurement, measurable goal. Okay, so what happens when we have an argument or a fight, and then there's no resolution, and there's no acknowledgement that this is going to be resolved? It feels like it got swept under the rug, and you feel unvalidated, and you feel like, oh, this is not, never should have done this in the first place. Okay, I'm going to take a side note here. I should have said this in the beginning. Old Doc Horn taught me this one years ago, and it rings true today. Is you know, and I ask this a lot: is what's the number one kind of reason why a relationship will dissolve, or you know, divorce will happen? And a lot of folks will say communication, and that's true. There's more specifically, it's the habitual avoidance of conflict. Doc Horn taught me that one. And it's very true in my world, and I mean in my personal life. And so if you've gotten to that point where you're just like, fuck it, I don't want to even go here. Like, there's no point. I know where this is going to go, no resolution, nothing like that. So that, you know, if that happens periodically, all right. That's not habitual. Habitual is if you're doing this like twice a week, that can even be habitual. All right. So if that's going on, you are in the red danger zone for relationships. All right. So that's the number one. That's usually right when you're ready to take off. Fights are healthy. So fight healthy. Okay. And that's using the talk it over formula. All right. So remember, habitual avoidance of conflict. If you do it every so often, hey, we all do. When we don't want to do it. You know, we love them. We get it. Just let this one slide. But if that's happening to a point where it's frequent and you're frustrated about it, but it's just not worth it, you're in the danger zone. Okay, and it's time to either go talk to somebody, get some friends involved, work it out, or really start doing a pros and cons list. However, whatever you want to do, think about some things. Okay, so talk it over formula through its entirety. So I'm feeling frustrated because I wanted to cook this tasty ass dinner, and you know how I throw down, and this isn't it. And I was hoping that maybe, here comes the measurement, maybe you and I can bang this out together right now, and then I won't feel so frustrated, and then we can have this tasty dinner and we can have fun doing it. And if, say, Janet's having a bad day, she can say, no, that's no. And I can say, all right, okay, I get it. All right, so I'm gonna cook. I'm going to leave the dishes, and then maybe tonight we'll feel better, but if not, you know what, screw it, we'll leave them, and then tomorrow when we get home, both of us will clean. Okay, so either it's later tonight or tomorrow as soon as we get home. Okay, all right, that sounds like a plan. All right, you shake on it or however you hug it out, but there you go. There's been compromise, and you've got, sounds like a win-win situation here, where I'm getting my needs met. I'm not going to have to clean all the dishes all by my lonesome. I'm going to get to do that with my partner. And I get to cook a tasty-ass dinner and not have to worry about those dishes either. Okay, win-win. So long as you follow that measurement. So measurement, what is that? So days, times, what's going to happen so that you're not being left holding this bag like, is this ever going to happen? Is this getting swept under the rug? So the talk it over formula is very dynamic. It can help resolve an argument in a fight, sure, and it has lasting power. You're investing with that. So I feel, because measurable goal. All right, there's other stuff involved, but I narrowed it down to those three. And here's a hack here that I use frequently. It's a little cheat code, because I'm not the best at naming my emotions. I'm usually feeling like 40. All right, I'm an emotional creature, as you know, so it's hard for me to pinpoint one. There's a lot of love emotion based in there usually, so it's just hard. So what I often do is I say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed. Even like if I really need to, be careful with swear words in the talk over formula, believe me, all right? But every so often I'll say, I'm feeling fucking overwhelmed. Not accusatory fucking, okay? Not fucking overwhelmed, not like that, but fucking that kind of. Then it gets across. So feeling overwhelmed with passion, okay? So then they know, and you didn't have to name an emotion. You don't get caught up in that, all right? And this again is going to be clunky when you try it out, but try it out. Talk it over formula, okay? And you can use it with anybody, your wife, your friend, your coworker. It validates. I mean, it validates throughout. It validates both of you, and that is dopamine. That's reward center for us. So it's good stuff. So talk it over formula, and don't forget, you're frequently, hopefully always, you'll get to a point you condition yourself enough that you're going to be using reflective listening throughout in most conversations. When you can do that, and I mean, a lot of us have had to work service industry jobs most of our life, and a lot of reflective listening going on there. So a customer will say this, and you reflect it back. So same thing, okay? But you're doing it in your life, and you're doing it intentfully with emotion involved. Because what is that? That's truth. It's real. It makes what you're saying have so much substance, and it helps heal when healing needs done in a fight or an argument, which I've been doing like crazy. I have been a wreck. Just a lot of folks have never seen the dark side of me. Mom helped figure that one out for me early on. Some have, and as sparkly as I can be, there's the dark too. There's the DP part. Okay, I may not be Shadow Fae, but I'm certainly an honored traveler in the shadow realm. Okay, and it doesn't mean it's bad there. It just means that sometimes bad things happen to us, and sometimes we get conditioned, or we see bad things to a point where we do things. And yeah, I have anger, and this thing that I have is sharp, and Mama wanted her boy to have a voice, and Mama didn't realize that Pandora's box was opened and didn't shut. So I have to be careful with it, and I haven't been lately, and it's been ripping me up inside, because as you know, as we all know, the true pain from a fight, okay, it's not what they did to us. It's that we went against our own principles and our values, that we said things that hurt somebody and it cut them, which cuts us 10 times deeper every time. And so that's why we get so angry and we place the blame on others, but really it's because we've let ourselves get got. Not by them, but by ourselves. So talk it over formula. I feel, because measurable goal. This isn't just to help your partner or your friend. This is also to help you feel better, so that you don't keep running into these big time emotions and explosions. Okay? Alright. Well, that's my spiel on that one, and I hope it worked in that. I hope the wind didn't get picked up in this fun little corn garden motif that we're using. So anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. It's going to be August in a day, so it's the last day of July right now. And Janet just had her birthday. She's a young Leo, and I'm a middle-aged Leo. I was born in August, so I feel my dusky August sun setting. Yeah, it's that way. It's setting. I can feel it's charging me. August is usually a good month, and I need it because I am screwed at work, screwed at home, screwed every which way. I am literally in one of those spots where you have no way out. Like, there's no solution. That's why you got to be patient. All right, solutions will arise. They will form. Just got to be patient. So it's really hard for me to be patient when it comes to solutions. I'm a guy. I want to fix it, and I want to do it now. And so it's been tough because I can't fix this one. This one I have to be patient on. Just let it happen. Okay, and with that, I will let you go. And until next time, and yeah, thanks for being my friend too, colleagues. The handful, it was 6 of you or so. Yeah, I wouldn't have added you if you weren't bomb ass shit. So, all right, thank you. See ya.